Today we're talking to Hotep Jesus and his co-star. We're going to be talking about crypto. We're going to be talking about the Manosphere. We're going to be talking about red pill, blue pill. So many pills here. First of all, Hoteps, thank you so much for doing this. Really appreciate you, man.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me, man.
I'm cool, man. So you're a red pill, blue pill guy. I've seen a few things. A few of my friends are following you. Tell us a little bit about the Manosphere and how that relates, if it relates, to cryptocurrency.
Ooh, that's interesting. I would say that the cryptocurrency community needs some more masculinity. They act like a bunch of bitches. To be honest with you, I saw somebody the other day online. They were complaining because I think Google or something like that was going to install custodial wallets in the browser as a plug, and they're like, well, people need to just learn how to use a wallet and set it up. And it's like, can we get people into crypto, like, and slowly ease them in? Like, relax. Right. They're so territorial, and it's just like, where's your swag? Where's your cool? Where's your composure? Where's your resolve? These are the things that, we talk about. We talk about like stoicism, right? Like, yeah. Not everything has to be so, oh my God, why did they do that? And it's just, you're just online bitching. That's why I started that t-shirt line and said, shut up and code, because people would just talk too much. It's like, when I think of crypto, crypto Twitter, I just think of people just, I would say 90% of the conversation is useless.
I very much agree, man. People need to man up in there. But listen, for them to understand, because a lot of people don't know what the Manosphere is, a lot of people don't understand that concept, and I know you've been on a lot of shows. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that and what it actually means?
I don't know anything about the Manosphere, to be honest with you. I'm connected to Rollo Tomasi. He's I guess they would say, the godfather of the red pill. I'm connected to Donovan Sharp, and I've spoken at the conference for masculine excellence. Some of the stuff I see in the Manosphere as well is full of bitch assness. Sometimes I question if these guys even like women by the way they talk about women.
Yeah, it's a bit. I was going to get to that. You just destroyed all my questions because I thought you were part of that. But that's okay. I'll find something else.
What were you going to ask me?
We'll make it fun.
What were you going to ask me?
Well, it's later on. We'll fix it. It's okay.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I'm pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, no, sometimes people say, hey, you're in the Manosphere. I'm like, yo, I don't know if I want to be included in that group because, right. Some dudes are, getting butt plugs in their butt. And I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know what's all that. Yeah, I got to
question my friend why he's watching that and why he knows about that. Mario, if you're watching this, what's up with butt plugs, man?
I've seen some crazy stuff over the past few weeks. People have been tagging me. I'm like, I did not need to see that. So yeah, I can't co-sign the Manosphere. I can only say that there's a couple of great voices. You got Coach EO, great voice. Donovan Sharp, BOA, Minister Jap, Lucario, even Coach Greg Adams. Those are the only names I think are safe. Anybody else, if I excluded the name, that's no diss. Because the people, I like to judge people by who I've met and interacted with. If I just see you online, it's one thing. But if I've shaken hands and I've had dinner and drinks with you, then I have a better idea and I can say, hey, this guy's cool.
Yeah, totally agree with you, man. Totally agree with you. What about red pill, blue pill? What does that mean? Just to get people on the same page.
That's a voluntary thing, right? So I think sometimes what happens is people try to force the red pill, and that's a choice. You have to give people a choice. Hey, do you want to stay in Disneyland, or would you like to see reality? And there's levels to it, right? There's levels, because some people, they say, yeah, I'm based and I'm red pill, and I'm like, I got some stories for you. And then they hear it and they're like, I don't want to hear that. What are you talking about? That's not true. And it's like, all right. So you're not truly red pill. You're more like purple pill, I guess. But it's about, I guess it's about how much of the truth you know, and we're always trying to uncover more of the truth.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's a willingness. That's really what it comes down to, a willingness to hear the truth. And if you're blue pill, it's just like, you just believe whatever the TV says and whatever CNN says, and you wear a mask and you're triple jabbed up, and you believe in the mandates and you think that the virus is out to get everybody. You're definitely a blue pill individual.
Mm-hmm.
If you vote Democrat, you're definitely blue pill.
I'm a straight up capitalist, so I'm more leaning to the right, but I do have some questions now.
Okay.
Because I'll take it as me. So I'm triple vaxxed.
Okay.
I
You
wear
triple
a mask.
jabbed up.
Yeah. I also
Okay.
okay. To be fair, I also have cancer, so I don't really have a choice, right? So I'm
wow.
fighting cancer as we speak. I'm taking cancer pills, so I can't really risk even getting the normal flu, not just getting corona, right?
I got you. Yeah.
So I wear masks in public when I have to, not when I'm walking down the street when there's no one around. I think that's stupid. But when I go into a store, for myself, but also respect to others, I would do that. Now, I do not agree with forced masks. I do not agree with forced vaccinations. Right. I do think there should be a thin line there. I also don't agree with people saying going protesting without masks and trying to hug you in the street, just trying to get their point across. I think there should be some middle ground here.
Absolutely.
If you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
But for me, on my side, I like to study medicine. I like to study a lot. And for me, the red pill might be, yes, those jabs work. I like mRNA technology and so on. Whilst for other people, the red pill might be, no, you should not. This doesn't work, whatever. Now, without saying which one's right, which one's wrong, that's a long discussion, right? What do you think of that concept? What's red pill? Would red pill be different to different groups of people to their belief?
I think
or is it the open-mindedness to understand that you can study and look into things even if you get the wrong sort of answer from the right answer? Because I'm pretty sure no one's 100% right. I mean, just Dunning-Kruger. It's like you can't be 100% right. Somewhere in the middle.
Absolutely. It is about the willingness to hear the truth. I think the biggest problem is the lack of desire to debate. Right.
Gotcha.
The people that are for the needle don't seem to be up for debate. I remember when people were talking about alternative medicines, like, for example, Joe Rogan is trending like every other week because he's talking about, monoclonal antibodies and things of that nature. And everybody's like, oh my God, he's spreading misinformation. It's like, all right. And then they're banning people. Like, so for example, like you mentioned, mRNA, right?
Yeah.
Well, one of the people that was on the discovery team was Dr. Robert Malone, and they banned him from the internet. And it's just like, well, how are you going to ban the guy that knows probably more than any of your scientists about the mRNA than him? So it's like, that's the things that is a huge red flag for me. When you had America's first line doctors all banned from the internet, castigated, ridiculed. And it's like, where is the Oxford style debate that says, hey, you guys believe this, these guys believe that, let's hash it out and talk and let the audience decipher which way they want to go. But I've myself tried to organize debates. I say, get your best pro-vax doctor. I'll bring my guys and bring them up. And I've had people just cancel on me. I've had people just completely ignore me, but they won't allow debate. And that's when I go, aha, you must not be telling the truth, because I know when I believe in something, I'm willing to debate it.
Yeah. I agree. And I'm always willing to learn. I'm always studying. And
there's also a conflict in the data, right?
I agree. And you should also look, I think most people look like, and I'm just going to use another word right here because I don't want to get this video demonetized or taken off YouTube, because it's a really cool beginning. I'm loving this. I would rather have, when I search for something, I would search for, why is chocolate bad for you? And why is chocolate good for you?
Yes.
Most people search with their bias, why is it bad for you? And that's it. And that's their argument. but they
Right.
don't look the other side, and they don't understand how to look at statistics. They don't understand how there's a lot of things like chocolate cases are up 100%. Oh, I'll do another one. Crime is up 100% in Intifada. Yes, but if only one person got murdered, that's two people.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's a lot of things.
Yeah.
Anyway, I lean towards obviously for my condition as well, but in general, I'm not against any vaccines. I think vaccines is a lifesaver when it comes to certain things.
Are you familiar with Dr. Stanley Plotkin?
I am not, and I wouldn't mind.
Dr. Stanley Plotkin is the godfather of that technology. Also, you have to look up Edward Jenner. He's the one that really started, variolation. But what Dr. Stanley Plotkin said about those things is quite interesting, especially when he talked about people having adverse conditions to serum components. And this is talking about before the mRNA, talking about the sterilization needles. But even, when we talk about like the conflicts and what Charlie Delta Charlie talks about, right? For example, when they first came out with the testing, right? And they said, oh, all these people are positive or all these people are negative. I had my friend who was a chemist tweet like immediately as soon as this hit the news. He's like, he looked at the data and he said, oh, they're running this at a certain cycle threshold. And at that cycle threshold, you're going to get false positives. Now, he said this in 20.
The tests don't work, especially not the mainstream tests. I'll tell you another thing. Another reason why they don't work, no one does them right anyway. Who's going to sit there and scrape the back of his nose and hurt and get a nosebleed? It will work, maybe. If you're going to do it on your own, it's not going to work.
But even if you do test either way, let's say you do test positive, it doesn't mean that you have it. It just means that you had it at some point. So when they start
if
saying,
you have a fever and you have a 40 fever, or I don't know what it is in America, and you're dizzy and you whatever, I think it's safe to say
that's symptomatic.
You have it at that point.
That's symptomatic. But then you have some people who are asymptomatic that are coming out positive, or you have some people who have symptoms that may be similar and are not, could be pneumonia or something else. And they are including that as a Ninja Turtle death. You know what I mean? So I think when Charlie Delta Charlie says one thing and then a year later they say another thing. For example, they were heavy on the mandates. And then, I remember at one point people were like, I don't even know anybody who got this stuff. And now it's like everybody has gotten it.
True.
And now they're decreasing the mandates. And it's just like, wait, isn't that the opposite of what you should?
Yeah, I think it's unfair also, and I'll end with this just so people can understand my side of the story as well, because a lot of people, look, it's a pro vaccine. Let me just explain something. I'm also the person that says I'm vaccinated, and when we go into a coffee shop in Greece, for example, we can go in and have a coffee, but people that are unvaccinated cannot come in. They cannot even sit in a cafe or go to work, okay? No, I think vaccinated people should also be tested, because a vaccinated person can still spread the virus to an unvaccinated person or another person that's vaccinated.
Yeah.
The vaccination doesn't stop it. It's not a shield. It's just so you can cope with the symptoms easier. That's like all vaccinations since the creation of vaccinations.
Yeah.
Right? Anyway, I want to get more into crypto. I want to get into other things. I have so much things to talk about with you. Okay. I don't want to be caught up to this. When did you actually get into crypto? And what drew you in?
2017, I want to say. And I was just investing in the stock market. I wouldn't say I was a trader. I don't like trading. So I'm very conscious of where I put my money and letting it grow. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoins had started taking off at that time. So I started just, dumping some cash into it, and I made a pretty decent bag. And I guess I've been in it ever since.
Co-host leaving?
Yeah. Yeah. But I've known about Bitcoin from the very beginning. I was just very stubborn. The first thing I said, I was like, oh, this will never last. SEC, the bankers, they're going to shut this down. And at least I could have made a bag in the meantime.
Got you. Got you.
Yeah.
So now you know, in the manosphere, you don't relate to that, or you don't want to be identified by that, but you are a red pill, blue pill kind of guy, as in the sense
Hotep.
that you are into. Sorry,
I'm Hotep.
you're Hotep. Which
I'm not red pill, I'm not blue pill, I'm
you're
not
just yourself.
Manosphere. I'm Hotep. No, Hotep as in not as in Hotep Jesus. Like you got Uncle Hotep, Canon Hotep, Hotep Dubes. I'm Hotep Jesus, but Hotep as in that's the adjective we use to describe ourselves. And that's another level. It's not red pill. Red pill is
you're
very
into leveling up as a
yes,
human being, as a person. Can you explain to me
absolutely.
Hotep, because that is something new to me?
Yeah. Well, we have a documentary we just put out on YouTube. If you go to Hotep Nation, you can watch it. But it's something I was born out of I guess the Black Lives Matter movement, because we didn't agree with how people were responding to the murders of people like Tamir Rice. We were talking about economics and capitalism and how great capitalism could be for Black people.
Yeah.
And then we were called Hotep. So, you know, we had to, we reclaimed it because I was familiar with the term. But, you know, it's just, it's a high level of thinking, right? It's a particular attitude. I think the closest thing to it would be a combination between Gnosticism and Stoicism.
Got you. I know about Stoicism. I'm Greek, so we study it.
Yeah. You know, the original Greeks was Black, right?
That's a long story to get into.
I love saying that to Greek people. You gotta read the book.
They were darker skinned. They were darker skinned in certain areas of Greece. That is actually quite true. We can just see that from paintings and pictures, but we can also see in paintings and pictures that they were also lighter colored in other areas. So,
well, I'm talking about just the people in that region prior to the Germanic tribes that came down and became the new Greeks.
From what I've seen, from it wasn't, but I wouldn't.
Before the so-called Greeks arrived.
I wasn't around back then, so.
Right. You got to read the book.
I look that old, man. Do I look that old? I know there's some white hair coming out and stuff.
It's revision of revised history.
Sorry?
It's revision of revised history, because the history we have now is revised history, so we're revising the revision.
I need to get one of my friends on a discussion with you, by the way. It's very, very interesting.
Please do.
I would love to get into that into that stuff. So here's my question. Would okay, see, this is a manosphere question, but I guess we can change it around. But many people in manosphere are into crypto. Do you see an overlap? And what's that overlap?
I think it's just a matter of it being such a ubiquitous financial tool right now that I mean, just keeping an eye on your finances is pretty masculine. You know, most people defer to a financial advisor, especially women. They'll defer to a 401k or a Roth IRA, and they usually let somebody else handle their investing. I think it's a very masculine thing to do, to manage your own portfolio. So naturally, crypto with the boom, and every guy, I mean, you know, in order to be a man, to level up, you know, you're chasing that money, you're chasing wealth. And when you see a lot of people make cash in a certain arena, everybody flocks to it. Like everybody's flocking to the bullshit NFTs now. So, so, you know, wherever there's cash, you're going to see a lot of men show up.
So you don't like NFTs?
No, stupid.
All NFTs or certain types of NFTs, or?
I mean, the whole idea in general. I mean, not all NFTs are stupid. I mean, some of them have good causes. I like that some artists are actually getting paid now when they weren't. But for the most part, most of them are pretty stupid.
What about NFTs that would have utilization, for example, in gaming objects that can be yours, or how Andreas Antonopoulos refers to them before calling them NFTs, were deeds that you can use for certain transactions or certain proof and so on.
What's the question?
The question is, what about NFTs are utilizing gaming, for example? Like, I'm trying to see if if you think they're stupid in general, or if you think just the art and the 98% is just stupid, and there are NFTs.
Yeah, I mean, there's everything's got a use case, right? Even crack cocaine got a use case, right? So everything has a use case. I wouldn't say, throw it all away. If there are situations where you can own a piece of art, or I guess license it out in some sort of way to exist in a video game or some sort of alternate environment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, knock yourself out. It's not something I'm personally interested in. I prefer to collect guns.
Oh, I like guns.
Yeah, guns are a better investment. Bodyguard. Oh, there you go. You got an accent
and the club owner and the nightclub owner.
Nice.
So, what were you like before crypto? Okay, let's do this. Okay, if I met you in high school, right? We're sitting in the high school cafeteria. We're sitting down. We're having lunch. What would I think of you?
He's very funny. And he gets a lot of girls. He's smart too. Athletic.
Okay.
I was the class clown.
And what happened after that? Like, how did you progress as a person? Like, what happened? How was your career wise?
Mortgage. I got into the mortgage industry at a very young age. I think I was like 20, 21 during the refi bull, and I think I made too much money at such a young age.
Yes, it's a problem, isn't it? You can then you're just not happy with anything else.
Yeah.
I was in timeshare.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, man. I was in timeshare. So.
Yeah, there was a big boom for that. Yeah. Yeah, I was a part of the refi boom. Back when there was no limit on points.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was one of the biggest factors that contributed to being, my maturity. I was the youngest kid in the office. All my friends were like 40 or better, married with children. My clients 40 or better, married with children.
Yeah.
So, when you're around that type of people, those type of people, and you're only 21, 22, you grow up faster, and you get around your friends and you're kind of like looking at them like, it's cool or whatever, but you're just not as motivated by your friends that are your age. It's kind of demotivating, in fact.
The truth is, if you want to succeed in life, you will either have to leave your friends behind, a lot of them anyway, or most of your friends will leave you anyway. I've noticed, because it just can't keep up. I think if you hang out with 5 losers, you become the 6th. If you hang out with 5 millionaires, you become the 6th. If you hang out with 5 people that debate and like talking, it all depends on your surroundings, I think.
Yeah.
You strike me as a person that, has a mission, has a goal. And I don't think you're money driven. Maybe you're success driven. Maybe, but I think you have a purpose. At least that's what I see. What is your purpose?
To be better. Just to wake up and inch a little bit closer the next day. Just try to be consistent. You make a plan, and you set some goals, and then you distill those goals down into daily goals or tasks. And you want to do, whatever is the highest ROI task, and you do those consistently and daily. So I think if I do my high ROI task daily, it's a success. And then those compound over time, and then you find exponential success. But I'm driven by discovery, learning. I enjoy teaching and informing others. It's actually one of my great gifts, according to friends and family. But I'm really motivated by trying to make the world a better place.
Nice. Do you have any? By the way, we're gonna get to the crypto. So if you're watching this right now, hit that like button. We're gonna get into the crypto stuff in a little bit. Don't worry. But this is actually quite interesting. Do you have any daily? And there is a point to all this, by the way. Do you have any daily habits and morning rituals that you follow?
Right now, it's about learning Spanish. Chess is a huge portion of my life. Trying to get better. It's almost an impossible task. Could be daunting at times and discouraging, but you can tell when you're getting better. The moves become easier to discover. The ideas come to you easier. The speed of the flow of the game, and so there's a lot of puzzles that I do daily, and I try to, some days I think I have some, it depends on put myself on punishment. If I put myself on punishment, I'm not allowed to play games. I have to just study chess. It depends on how I'm playing. If I'm playing well, I'll continue to play well. But if I hit the point where I'm not playing well, I say, okay, no more. Let's get back to the studies. The issue with chess is the more you study, the worse your game becomes because you're learning so much, you're trying to implement it. So you have to discipline yourself that every time a new game starts, you almost have to delete everything and play chess as if you're new, every game is new. So, that's really, it's that, making sure I give my daily news update on my YouTube channel.
Which, by the way, I'm going to link it. You can see it up here, by the way. You should join that channel. I'll link it down below as well.
Yeah. I just got off a phone call with Wazo AI, which is one of the companies I'm a part of. I'm an equity partner in. And so I have a couple of tech companies I'm equity partners in. Wazo, Coinbits, which is the Bitcoin app. Let's Go.finance is another crypto app. And I come from the marketing and branding world. So I used to work on Madison Ave in New York City, which is like the advertising mecca. And then I moved into tech. So I think I have about maybe 12 years of work experience with tech startups, as an employee. And I got to a certain point where it just didn't make sense for me to be an employee anymore. I was just a little bit too advanced for that. And so I moved away from that and then moved into more of an advisor role. So that's what I enjoy doing, is just advising people on the right things to do as an entrepreneur. Because there's a lot of people out here who have created a startup and don't know what they're doing. And I've created businesses in the past that have been successful. And I kind of just know what works and what doesn't. And startup, usually, young, new startup founders are just stupid. I mean, well, they're smart, but I should say they're inexperienced in how, what you need to do day one or year one for a business. And I'm pretty successful at launching things.
That's funny, man. We have a lot of things in common, man. My other YouTube channel is all about entrepreneurship. And I've interviewed people like Patrick Bet-David for Valuetainment, people like Evan Carmichael, You One Thing, and so on. I've written a couple of books on entrepreneurship and success. But yeah, right. I want to send you a book just to check out and tell me what you think of it, by the way. It's called, it's right there, Crypto Marketing Playbook. Okay. So I think that if you can give me some advice, I would really appreciate it, man. Obviously, you have a lot more experience. So what do you think? We mentioned earlier on in the interview that about women being in crypto. Do you think how do you think women respond to crypto in general? Do you think they're into crypto? Do you think they're not so much into crypto? And what do you think is the driving factor behind that?
I really don't care what women do. I let women talk to women, but I don't think about women. I don't bifurcate the human species like that. I just see people, either you're in or you're out. I see, when I look at a group that's not adopting crypto, I see it as more like age groups Like the older age group, it has trouble adopting technology. And then there's like also like the super conservative boomers, right? They're like, oh, invest in gold. And it's just like Bitcoin's a scam, and it's not real, and those sort of things. So I see that more than, I see women in crypto, like like homies are in crypto. So I just don't see it. Maybe it might be true that women aren't really adopting it. And I would believe it. If somebody said, hey, women don't really adopt crypto, I would believe it. I would take your word for it. I just don't see it within my circle. Maybe just because I'm in an elite circle.
Okay, got you. So let me do another question. Let me respond differently. Would you say red pill guys are more into crypto than blue pill guys?
Probably. Maybe. Blue pill guys are too busy getting rammed up the ass to even think about anything else. I don't know.
All right, let me put you a tough one. I know you don't like talking about women, or you don't see the difference there. But let's put it this way: when it comes to intersexual dynamics, okay, NFTs versus crypto, do you think women are more into NFTs than crypto, or vice versa? Or even if you don't want to talk about that, if you don't want to answer that, maybe people in general, blue pill guys, red pill guys, what do you think the relationship is there? Who do you think gets more into NFTs versus crypto, for example?
Why would you ask that question? What's the premise of that question?
Well,
like after I answer, like what do you do with the answer?
After you answer, well, this is just for the YouTube part of it. But when it comes to anything, when it comes to success, making money and leveling up, that goes into the book we were talking about earlier on.
No, I'm just saying, like when you ask me that question about women and NFTs versus crypto, like after I answer that, like what do you do with the response? Like how do you even begin to analyze the answer, and why would you analyze that answer?
Well, you got me off guard there.
I usually do that to people. Yeah, usually when somebody asks me a question, I usually can intuitively understand why, or get to what they would do with that answer.
Oh, you're trying to see that. Oh, okay, I understand your question now. I'm not trying to get to anything or to lead you anywhere. I'll tell you how I came up with the question, though. I was talking to a friend of mine that has actually seen your shows, and he told me about you. He told me about, and that's why I said in the beginning it was the Manosphere, and we cleared that up. And that's how these questions were born, because I figured it would be something interesting to have a cross between crypto, NFTs, and Manosphere, blue pill, red pill, and that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to make an interesting discussion. I wasn't trying to lead you anywhere or try to.
No, I wasn't saying you were trying to lead me anywhere. That's not what I was saying. What I'm saying is, like I don't think about those things. Like I don't think about blue pill guys versus red pill guys and their adoption of technology, or women and their adoption of technology. My outlook is very like, fuck them, right? Like I think about it like, if you're adopting the technology, great. If you're not, fuck you. I'm not thinking about you. You don't have space in my brain. So when you ask me that question, I'm just like, I really don't care. Like
but there you go. That answer right there. That goes. So I'm trying to see. So for the people watching this video, this interview is also a basis for the Crypto Factor Part 2, which is interviewing how successful people and how to succeed in cryptocurrency. Right. So I've interviewed some of the most successful people and pioneers in crypto. That's why I'm talking to you right now, and trying to see what common traits they have between themselves. So the Crypto Factor Part 2, which is with Andreas Antonopoulos, BitBoy Crypto, yourself, Anthony Pompliano, Scott Sornetta, the father of blockchain, mentioned 4 times in the Bitcoin white paper, and so on. We're trying not to shill projects about which is the best cryptocurrency. I don't care about that. I want to see what it takes to actually succeed in crypto. What is the mindset you actually need behind it? Right. And this is a play off of my other book, which is off of crypto, which I did. when it comes to success and entrepreneurship in life, where I've interviewed Patrick Bet-David, where I've one of the few people, actually, I think it was one of the only two people, where I've interviewed Evan Carmichael, Ben Gay III, which was with Napoleon Hill and Zig Ziglar, and even top YouTubers and different people in different fields, to see what they have in common, what is the common traits, to help people in their journey, to help people succeed, to help people level up, if you will. I never knew about the Manosphere before.
That makes sense.
I never even heard of the Manosphere. My friend heard of the Manosphere, and my nephew that's inside, that's visiting, they are the ones that told me. So, and that's why I came up with these questions. But so what I'm trying to look for in these questions is, it's not the whole answer, but what a person like you is doing to succeed, what in common do you have with other people, and what things you don't have in common that maybe contribute to your success. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
I'm not sure I'm articulating properly, but
well, for me, I just have the blinders on, man. I'm focused here, like going forward. Like anything going on outside of that, I'm really just not interested in. If it's not going to benefit me, my family, my friends, and my network, or Hotep Nation, I really don't care, right? Like I just don't. So that would be my trait, right? Like
so
extreme focus. Yeah.
Not caring about what's going on outside. Do you watch the news?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't watch the news. I keep up with the news, but I don't watch the news. Yeah.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I do on my channel. I do daily news updates.
Got you.
And basically interpret the news for people, because the way it comes out of the news is garbage. So I interpret it for them.
So can you give me an example?
Yeah. So today, Charlie Delta Charlie, according to I believe it was NBC News, said that natural immunity was stronger. I'm paraphrasing here, but a recent study said natural immunity was better than the needle. And then in the next paragraph, they go, but experts still believe that it's safer to get the needle, right? Okay. So, I'm translating that to people and saying, well, they say experts believe, and it's like, okay, well, who are these experts? What are their name? What are their qualifications? What field are they in? Like there's unambiguous statements and there's ambiguous statements. And usually what they do is they start the article off with unambiguous statements like, hey, here's the data, here's the numbers. And then they make a statement that's ambiguous as hell, and it's like, yeah, but doctors say you should go get, experts say you should still go get it and it's safer. And it's just like, all right, well, when you say safer, like what does that mean, right? Like, are you saying, when you say safer, that means you're comparing it to something else? But if you don't qualify what it's being compared to, if you don't tell me what you're comparing it to, and it's just an ambiguous statement. So it's safer than what? Safer than somebody like an athlete like Sarah Acho, who develops pericarditis after, 5 days after getting the shot. You know what I mean? Like, would she consider it safer than contracting the actual, right? What would Kyrie think about that? Like, would Kyrie say it's safer? And it's safer for who, right? Like for you, yeah, it might be safer, right? Because of your condition. But for a full-blown athlete in his 20s, like, is it safer for them? Because we see people dropping like flies. So, I just interpret the news like that.
Got you. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about crypto. What do you think the potential is of America, or generally people accepting crypto, it becoming a currency? Do you think Bitcoin can become a currency in the future? What's your take on that?
I mean, we already have, I think it's already a currency. Well, but I think it's not a matter of will it. I think it's a matter of when. But I think it's more of a necessity than a desire. I mean, what's beautiful is options. When you're only given one option of how you can trade scarce goods and resources, technically you're being controlled because you don't have options. Once upon a time, you had options. You could trade in gold or silver, etc. And then like the United States outlawed it at some point, and then then at times the economy got so bad that people were trading in bread and butter, right? So I think cryptocurrency is great because I can just start my own economy if I wanted to. We can say, hey, this is the currency we're using, and it doesn't really need to have any intrinsic value because nothing really has intrinsic value until you talk about a specific use case, right? So we talk about something like gold, right? Like gold has no intrinsic value until you want to make a wire, right? Or a high quality wire, right? So when you think about it like that, it's like, so if you're going to use gold to conduct electricity or electrical currents, why are we using it as a currency, right? And really what currency is just the management of a defunct ego, right? The human species has an ego which has fallen way below a threshold which can sustain us on this planet, and the only thing that's keeping this thing afloat is currency. Without currency, I believe there would be calamity on this planet, or more than we see today. So currency allows us to just, trade in a way that's civil. And I think in the future, with more controls from the world banks, et cetera, and the central banks, et cetera, people will desire their own currency.
Yes. How long do you think it will take for this to go more mainstream?
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, so my judgment is that it'll never go mainstream. What really what's going to happen is you'll have the Fed coin, which will be a cryptocurrency, and people will be forced to use that cryptocurrency for mainstream life, right? Which is, trading at your local grocery store or, Target, right? We take Fed coin. We don't take, Hotep coin, right?
Right.
But then there's going to be people with the alternate currencies, right? Like, so for example, I see cities popping up saying, hey, we're going to implement Bitcoin. And I'm like, all right, that's cool for my wallet, but you're kind of short-sighted. You could have created your own cryptocurrency and run everything off of that. And that would have made more sense, right? Like, I think it was one of those South American companies was like, hey, we're going to, do this thing with Bitcoin. It's like, all right, cool. I can see why it makes sense for you because, you need something to back your defunct economy with. And Bitcoin is something that actually has value already. You don't have to work to get that up. But, I think about people who get ostracized for their opinions, people who get banned from the internet. They're going to exist in alternate communities and alternate economies, alternate cell phones. People are going to be jailbreaking, creating their own cell phones. And people are just going to be more technologically advanced. Just your average day, everyday average citizen, like somebody's grandma is going to be like damn near a coder in 100 years. You know what I'm saying? But it won't feel like coding at that point. It'll just be a normal everyday part of life.
Do you think cryptocurrency is going to be used by governments for control?
Yeah.
All right. So would you say that, I'll tell you one of my theories, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you're religious, if you read the Bible or anything like that, so I don't know if I can bring up that example or not, but I'll try.
Go for it.
I'll try. Mm-hmm. Right. So in my opinion, either cryptocurrency, let's just put in the cryptocurrency like Ethereum, could be the birth and means for the Antichrist or government entity, or whatever you want to call it, to control people. But it could also be the answer to fight back against it. I'll give you a perfect example. If we go a little bit biblical, and for people that are atheists, doesn't matter. This is just an example. You can understand how we're going to take it after.
Atheist people are religious too, by the way.
Yes, true. Atheist is being okay, but let's just keep going. Forgive my lack of terminology here. I don't forget I'm Greek speaking English. I forgot.
No. Like, just real quick. When you say atheist is supposed to be somebody who doesn't believe in God, right? But to not believe in God is to have.
It's still a religion. It's still something you believe. Yes, of course. I understand that. Now, I'll get the reason I'm bringing religion into this is just the example. It was a prediction for the mark of the beast that would go into your right hand and your forehead. You wouldn't be able to buy or sell without this. You'll be forced to take it. And it's the first, I think it was 3.5 years. You'd have a choice. After it would be mandated, or you'd probably be labeled as a terrorist if you don't take it or something like that. But you wouldn't be able to buy and sell without it. Now, blockchain technology makes this possible. If it's a chip or whatever going into your hand to connect to your bank account, and guess what? They have full control. They know where you are. They can stop your money going in and out. You won't be able to buy and sell without this. But at the same time, if people trade in Bitcoin, that could be fighting against something like that. Now, where am I going with? I don't know. But what I want to, I guess, is how important is crypto for liberty and freedom? Or is it something that ultimately will be the catastrophe or the destruction of it? And I just wanted to bring that example just as a point of reference so that, we can think over it a little bit.
I think it's going to be a mixture of both. It just depends on what currency you're using. Obviously, we're going to have Fedcoin. Obviously, like everybody's like this huge Elon Musk fan. And I have a tremendous amount of respect for the guy. But, he's basically building Skynet. Mm-hmm. And he's talking about like things like Neuralink, and then he's got the other thing with the satellites, and I forget what that project is called. And he's gonna like give everybody like free internet or some shit like that. I don't know, but like he's technically building Skynet. The Tesla car. I mean, if I were to predict, 10, 20 years from now, you hop in that thing and you got a warrant for your arrest, it's just gonna take you to the precinct. Shut down.
Think of that. That's actually, I actually never thought about that.
It's connected, right? It's connected to the
and
cloud.
It's tracked and everything.
It's tracked.
I don't know why I didn't think of that. That's actually very good.
Yeah, those cars, like, they creep me out, right? So they're really cool. They're really fast. I've driven one. They're really fast. I love it. I wouldn't say I wouldn't own one, because I'd love to own one. But if I owned one, I would need like a car from the 70s too, or like a 1992 Honda Prelude, right? That's completely off the grid. And that's the thing, like, people are not aware of, is when we start going to EVs, this is about control, man, and tracking people and etc. And people always have that stupid argument. They go, "Oh, but your cell phone." It's just like,
you can just throw your cell phone away, man.
Right? Like, I hate that argument.
You can't throw away a new link.
Exactly. They say, "Oh, well, you shouldn't be worried about the chip because the cell phone." And I'm like, but the chip is like in my skin. Like, I can't just dig it out when I want. Like, if I like McAfee.
Yeah.
If McAfee was chipped up, he'd have to dig the chip out of his arm, right?
Yeah.
But then he was like, "Yo, I'm gonna create my own SIM card." Yeah. And he did that, right?
No, he was an amazing person, by the way.
Yes, he was. So, like, when people say, "Oh, if I want to go off the grid, I can go off the grid and it can't find me," right?
Yeah.
I just have to remove the cell phone. But when you start talking about like other things, it's just like, how many points of data do we need to give them before it's just like too much, man?
Yeah, and even if Elon Musk is not creating this technology for that, it does not mean that this technology won't be used later on for that.
Right.
So Elon Musk might not be like the bad person, but he might have all good intentions.
At some point, it's just going to be just like iRobot, where it's going to be illegal to operate a vehicle. Everything's going to have to be autonomous.
Right.
You're going to speed, and they're going to be like, "Oh, here's your ticket. You were speeding." It's like, yo, what the fuck? And it's just going to like print out right inside your car. It's just going to be ridiculous, man.
It is, man. It is. All right. I got a few more questions for you. They're going to be a little bit mixed. Some are for the book, some are for the YouTube channel here. Advice for people getting into crypto. 3 pieces of advice people get into crypto right now.
Don't listen to anybody on Twitter except for
Me.
Cyprian. I really co-sign Cyprian as a source. I think he's a really good start. I will purchase his course, Bitcoin Mystery School. And take it slow.
Mm-hmm. Okay. A question I forgot about earlier on. What does success mean to you?
What does success mean to me? I have to just defer to, my purpose every day. It's just, am I better than I was yesterday? Am I better than I was last year? That to me is success.
Perfect analogy.
Progress. I guess progress is success.
Okay. 3 rules of success that you can give people to go by right now.
Consistency.
Perfect.
Hold on. Let's think about this. 3 rules of success.
Consistency is a very important one.
Fitness. And network.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. And one more question for you, man. What's that one question you wish people asked you in interviews, but they never do?
What's wrong with the world?
What's wrong with the world?
Yeah. Why can't humans get it right? So the answer is everybody thinks we're individuals, and really we're all one.
Mm-hmm.
And until we understand that we are all one, we'll never reach our potential. Once we understand that I am you and you am I, we'll reach great potential. I mean, when we think about technology today, and I look at technology today, I don't see success in technology. I'm not impressed.
Mm-hmm.
Just not impressed. We have this thing called plastic, and I'm not with the whole paper fucking straws. I think that's stupid and whatnot. But what society is it that creates plastic? Like, where's your intellect that you would create something that would destroy the planet, right? That's not biodegradable. I'm not impressed by the cell phones. Everybody's like, oh, these things, they do so much. I see that if humans had not spent so much time warring, we'd be way beyond flying cars. We'd have maybe pods. You attach the pod and you just fly away like Iron Man. That's where we need to be right now, right? Like when we think about alien technology, yeah. When we think about like alien technology, like have you ever seen those UFO footage where it like changes directions and
right.
It defies physics and whatnot? I'm like, yeah, we could probably reach that if we just work together, man, and stop like hating on the next man. Because really what it is just the fact that whoever created this little game understood that one part of the organism is going to be sitting on all the gold and all the oil and all the fresh water and all the food, right? And that was basically South America and Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And Australia, and everybody else is gonna want some, and because they don't have it in abundance, they're gonna be jealous and envious, and they're gonna come take it. And that's how you get the British Empire. They didn't have shit. I mean, it's the UK. Like, what's in the UK? It's an island in the middle of nowhere, right? And then you have to one thing that kills me too is like people say there's 7 continents on the planet. I'm like, there's not 7 continents. There's 6. Like, we need to stop calling Europe a continent. It's not a continent, right? Like a continent What's the definition of a continent? I'm gonna look it up right now just to make sure they haven't changed it already.
Okay.
It says it's supposed to be a large landmass surrounded by water, right? It says any of the world's main continuous expanses of land. See, it's already changed from what I understood it to be as a child. Like, this is ridiculous, man. But it's supposed to be a large landmass surrounded by water on all sides. And Europe's not a large landmass surrounded by water on all sides. But if I pull up a dictionary, that was
Isn't
crazy.
it?
Like Europe,
Yes, of course it is.
it's surrounded by water on all sides.
Well, isn't it? If you look at wait. If you look at Europe, right? There's water going from they're splitting Europe from Africa, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Then it goes up into the Balkans, right? I guess.
What's on the west? I mean, the east. What's on the east? Asia.
Yeah, it is.
Right. And at one point they called that Eurasia, right? The connection of Europe.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So so that whole thing, well, if you include Asia, now that would be one whole continent.
A huge one.
Okay, right. So you would call Europe, you would call that Western Asia.
Right. Okay.
Right. But Europe itself is not a continent. It's not even big.
Compared to America, no, it isn't that.
Compared to North America, South America, Africa, or even Australia, it's not big. Mm-hmm. You can fit all those countries. Like, I wouldn't say New Jersey, but I think like they like fit inside Texas and some other states. Right? Like, Europe's not big, so how is it a continent? And this is just like the ego of the goddamn Germanic tribes that just like ruin the world, man.
So you're anti-Europe?
Yeah, they fucking ruined everything, man. Like, they stunted technology. They literally stunted technology. Like, you remember Europe had to go through like 300 years of dark ages or whatever it was, right? Like, and then they went through a period called the Great Stink, right? Like, they were throwing shit literally out their windows so bad that like rivers just stunk, and it's just a disgusting place to live. Like, this was a backward people.
Yeah, but when you say you have to define Europe there, because not all Europe was like that.
No, of course not. But this is the things that were happening, right? And on this so-called continent. So, like, for example, people ask me, like, what was the most monumental historical event, right? That's a good question. I would have people ask me, and I would say it's the Russian Revolution, right? The toppling of the royal family. Like, that was the last piece for the whole banker syndicate to really seize power over the Western world, was to get rid of the czar, because that was the last standing real monarchy, at least with some serious power and some serious wealth. And they snatched that shit up. You know what I mean? And that was all okay. For example, World War II, and we're talking about synthetic gasoline. Right. Okay. The technology technically was created in Germany, but it was funded by US dollars, US interests. But the United States was not allowed to have that technology. Right. It was banned from having that technology. Mm-hmm. When you ban people from expanding on technology, having access to technology, you slow up technology.
True.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like, when I look at today and I look at where we are today with technology, I go, we're probably like 1,000 years behind from where we could be.
Well, assuming we know all technology that's out there and not technology we don't know about.
Right. I'm just hypothesizing, right? I'm just taking a guess. I'm just saying, if we look at instances, for example, like I showed you, not having access to that synthetic gasoline process. I think it's a hydrogenation process. When we look at that, like, that's just one microcosm of where technology is not allowed. And then when you talk about like United States of America, we have this thing called trademarking, the patent office, because I need credit for my work, So now, like, you're slowing up technology. one said man could take the technology that you said I can't work on and I can expand upon it and make it better. But we got a patent office and attorneys and all this others, right? So we slow it up technology because people are in their emotions and their feelings. And that's the biggest problem, is the human ego. So if you do that and take a look at time over a long period, I would just say we're probably 1,000 years behind in technology. We were supposed to have flying cars by now. Where are they?
Well, I think so.
We're supposed to have hoverboards. We never got hoverboards. Where's my hoverboard?
Where's your hoverboard? I'll tell you this. There's something in technology where you can't bring out something. How can I put this? Wait, let me explain. So you can't, even if they have the tech, there's something in marketing called trend stacking. That's not what I'm looking for. But when it comes to technology, you can't just put out a flying car. You have to sort of condition people to not be scared of it, to be able to use it, and so on. Otherwise, people will just kill themselves and crash with each other in the air all the time. There'll be problems. So you need to kind of slowly bring the technology out. That's why a lot of technology is not mainstream. So if they just bought flying cars out right now, I think there's a lot of safety measures. There's people need to understand it. People need to get used to it.
That's missing the point, right? Like, I'm just being facetious when I say something like
I'm missing the forest for the tree here. Maybe okay, true.
Yeah, like that's just an erroneous argument. It's just the point is, we could be further along, right?
Of course.
China has the maglev technology that's doing great things, right? And that's the funny thing about, like, when we think about technology, our world is governed by magnetism, electricity, and we haven't even fully, implemented that in society because somebody has to figure out how the government gets a cut of it first. Right?
Yes. Right?
So, like, technology is being stunted because somebody, has their own interests. And that's why I said, if we start understanding that we are one, we could all have a high quality of life instead of being, super, hoarding resources and whatnot and wanting to control people. I never wanted to control people. I always thought of that as being like a liability. Like, you're dependent upon me. Ugh, like, I hated when people were dependent upon me. Like, I would loathe, like, there were people that would literally be dependent upon me. And I'd be as rude as possible to them to get them away from me. Like, no, you need to be independent. So I see people want people to have to be dependent upon them because it gives them that stroke of their ego and power. I'm just like, yo, like, you got a small penis? Like, what's wrong with you?
Don't you think some people do need that though? Don't you think some people need to be to follow somebody?
Up to a certain point, right? And then like, a child grows up and does an apprenticeship, and then at some point he goes and does the job on his own, right? But it can't be a lifelong dependency.
Yeah.
Right. They want a society of people that are lifelong dependent. Like, when you look at the people on welfare, the welfare technically should be a temporary thing. Like, you're on it, you level up, and then you're off. Right. It's supposed to just assist you. And Walter Williams and Thomas Sowell have all created programs to solve that problem and say, hey, this can be a temporary fix, and this is how we move people along. Like, if you're going to give somebody assistance, they got to get some skills too. Right. They got to go get some sort of schooling. Right.
Yeah. Well, the school system's out of date, man.
No, I'm not talking about that school. I hate school. I'm talking about some sort of schooling, such as, I don't know, coding or something in the cryptocurrency lane. Right.
That's what they should teach, though. I think
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If you want this welfare check says you'll receive this while you're getting your 2 years of education and in vocation. And then we introduce you into the job arena, and we no longer need welfare. But people are on welfare their entire life.
That's actually a pretty simple solution. I'm not sure why they don't do that, by the way.
It's not mine. It's Thomas Sowell and Walter Williams have talked about this. I'm just a student.
Mm-hmm.
And they could do that. But again, why don't they do that? Because they want dependency. Dependency means they get to stay in power.
Yeah. Well, they say that the school system is designed to train people to be workers and to help rich people, right? They could be teaching entrepreneurship. They could be teaching how to do your own taxes. They should be teaching coding. They should be teaching video editing, whatever we need today to be able to thrive. They don't do that. I think what they're teaching is for other people.
Right.
Anyway, this was an amazing chat, man. Thank you so much for being on the channel. I really appreciate you. I'm going to leave links down below for everyone to check out your channel. They better check out your channel. I want to come and check out your channel. I'm going to leave the links up here too. Man, thank you for this, man. I really appreciate you. And I really hope to do this again, man.
Oh, pleasure, man. Thank you for having me, man.
Thank you, man. All right. Guys, subscribe down below. Subscribe to Hotep Jesus' channel. And I will see you in the next video. Take care.